Hello and welcome to the show. So last week, was it last week? I'm not actually sure when it was. We did the Los Santos rally, and one thing that intrigued me that we never really got an answer to was how did the tyres affect the cars? Did having off-road tyres make the car any better or any worse than having on-road tyres? You would expect, sort of dealing with dirt, the off-road tyres should be a little bit better, and while dealing with tarmac, the road tyres would be a bit better. But I simply didn't know if it made any difference, so I sort of set out to investigate it. We start with sort of a straight line speed acceleration test at the Sandy Shores airfield, I believe it is. My bifter is fitted with the off-road tyres, while the purple bifter is fitted with road tyres. On this first run, yes, the road-tired bifter did win the drag race. However, by the end, it wasn't really making sort of any ground. We kind of evened out. Again, we did quite a few of these runs that I'm not going to show. I'm just going to show you sort of, give you a vague sense of what was going on, because there was quite a lot of going down an airfield in a straight line. We also had a third person who was doing the countdown, so we tried to get as even a start. As you can see, though, there really wasn't an awful lot in it. It was a lot more down to the start. If somebody pulled a long way in front, it was most probably because they get a better launch, better reaction time, or there's always a possibility of sort of slight chat lag when you're dealing with Xbox Live parties. Having dealt with the sort of a road kind of section, we went to the beach to kind of see what it would be like with the off-road sort of terrain, and it was a little bit strange. The first race didn't really make a lot of sense to us. On the launch, the purple buggy looked like it got a better start, as again, it's got a slightly better launch. Then we're sort of neck and neck, and all of a sudden I get a massive speed boost, and then we go back to doing kind of the same speed. Which, yeah, the tyres shouldn't work quite like that. The tyres shouldn't be all of a sudden giving you a push and then slowing down again. We wondered if perhaps it was something to do with the terrain. While we tried to find a large smooth area, or smoothish area to test this on, it was still a little bit bumpy. And sure enough, when we swapped sides, it would be the purple buggy that would take the win. Okay, he didn't get the sort of massive speed boost that I got, but yeah, he would take the win for that round, which confused us some more, since it was becoming apparent it wasn't really the tyres that mattered, as it was now the off-road buggy that was doing better. Again, on the next run, and there goes the massive speed boost that I just simply can't do anything about. We made the route, or made the sort of the course a little bit longer, and there was nothing I could do. I couldn't kind of sort of catch back up. He was, yeah, we kind of got to the same top speed, only he was getting kind of sudden speed boosts. We came to the conclusion that the bumps were having an effect. Something to do with the dips that were on that area were causing a problem. So we moved to a flatter area of the beach, and sure enough, the problem didn't really go away. Again, you can see that once things are flat and even, we were pretty much side by side, pretty much the same acceleration, pretty much the same top speed. However, every so often we were getting these sudden speed boosts. We tried swapping sides. I got a much better launch on this one. However, you can see once we got going, we kind of reached top speed, and it pretty much stayed the same as it was. And again, I was to get a speed boost, and yeah. Basically, once you started going down a hill, you get a lot of airtime. Once you started going downhill a little bit, of course, you were going to get a bit faster. So it kind of became a case of whoever had the sort of the most downhill. It's a little bit weird. GTA it's a little bit strange in how the cars picked up momentum. As yes, the terrain was pretty much even. It was just once you started going down a bump, you got a lot of speed boost, even if it kind of flattened out. It's hard to explain. It doesn't really make sense to me, to be honest. However, that was pretty much what was happening. We moved to some road cars, a couple of Sentinels that we were going to give a go. This time mine was fitted with the road tyres. The black one was fitted with off-road tyres on the first run. Again, very close. Pretty much down to the launch on that one. We swapped sides, and we're going to have, again, another incredibly close race. And it seemed as if it was the side of the road you were on that was having an impact, as this time it's going to be me that would take the win. And it didn't matter what we did. Whenever we swapped the cars around to the different sides, it was the car that was on the left in this case that would take the win. So we came to the conclusion that it was probably, again, small bumps in this track. It's unlikely that we would constantly be getting sort of like being faster on the launch from being on a different side of the track. That's rather unlikely. So we moved to the flattest area of sort of road paved area, I don't know, whatever, that we could think of at the international airport, and there was now no difference. There is just absolutely no difference in acceleration or speed of the vehicles. They've hit pretty much the same time. The only difference was the launch, and that is like reaction time pretty much on the launch. And yeah, that was pretty much it. I started closing a little bit on the finish line, just a little bit. So that would have made for a very good photo finish. But yeah, it was really not making any difference. Again, on the run back, it was my turn to get a little bit better launch, but it came to the same point where we were just travelling at exactly the same speed. And yeah, that is not very much of a gap between the two cars, having run down an entire runway. We swapped vehicles, have a go with supercars, see if this made any difference. My Vaca was fitted with road tyres, the white one was fitted with off-road tyres, and again it was pretty much exactly the same story as it had been with the Sentinels the first time. The car on the left got a little bit of a better start, and then we pretty much settled in to exactly the same positions, and then I started to close slightly at the end. I'm not quite sure how this worked, because we never quite positioned ourselves in the same place on the runways. However, whichever car was on whichever side always seemed to win, which yeah, doesn't make a huge amount of sense. Went to the beach to try the vehicles on kind of off-road terrain, and it was exactly the same as it had been in the previous attempts. The Vaca on the right the car on the right got a better launch. The car on the left would take the win because of the bumps, and it didn't. The tyres just weren't playing a factor. It didn't matter what we did, because it was just exactly the same outcome. The car with the off-road tyres would win. The car with the road tyres would win. The tyres were not a factor at all in this. There was an element of, as I said, an element of reaction time and an element of, I guess, sort of small amounts of chat lag. I don't know how bad Xbox Live parties are, but yeah, that's always sort of a slight thing. But there's certainly no massive difference when it comes to acceleration and when it comes to top speed. We're going to have a go with very highly modified vehicles, since the Rat Loader is free and all the upgrades are free on it at the moment. We got a pair of these, have them fully upgraded, all of the engine upgrades and everything. The only difference between these two, apart from slight visual differences, are the tyres. My one's on road tyres, the black one is on off-road tyres. Again, exactly the same results. The car on the right gets a bit better launch, the car on the left takes the win. The tyres playing absolutely no effect. In fact, we pretty much finished with exactly the same gaps in both of those races as well, which means we got exactly the same kind of launches in both of them as well. When we came to do the tarmac test, if you like, with these, there was a bit of lag. We couldn't get it to go away, and it was kind of yeah, messing things up a little bit. However, if you ignore the sort of the odd jumpy forwardness of the other Rat Loader, it was pretty much the same speed. We were hitting the same top speed, we were accelerating in the same way. In straight line, made no difference. Really, absolutely no difference. Also, interestingly, the fastest way to stop a Rat Loader is to spin it round. The brakes are so terrible in this thing. It really does not get stopped at all. However, when we're talking about that stuff, it is only in a straight line. We're only talking about acceleration and top speed. What about when we throw in some braking and some cornering? The courses we're going to use are the rally stages from the LS Rally. Since these are all pre-made and I do sort of know them, it seemed like the sensible thing to do. Now, yes, I will admit this is not a completely fair test, but it never really can be. The more I run through the stages, the faster I am going to get, so the vehicle that goes first is always going to be at a disadvantage. Also, on a course like this that's very, very, very bumpy in places, it is easy to make small mistakes and lose quite a lot of time very, very quickly. So yes, I'm not going to be able to do absolutely perfect run every time. I can't do it. I am human, honest. Yeah, I simply cannot do it. However, this is the best we got. There is no other way to really test this in a real race situation, if that makes sense. If I was racing against somebody else, different driver skill. So at least we are talking about the same driver here. When it comes to the times, the Bifter with the off-road tyres went first on this route. Its fastest time was a 2:42.8. 239.4, and then I put the road tyres on it and it did a 239.0. I did 3 runs with each of the car. I'll put the times on the screen so you can see the times for each run. Yeah, that does on paper sound like quite a big difference, a 39 and a 42. That's sort of 3 seconds going on there. However, I don't really think that is down to the tyres. That is more, a lot more down to my driving. The run I did, I believe actually this is the run that's on the screen now, that I did with the road tyres, was very, very fast. I carried a lot of speed through some of the faster sections, which I wasn't brave enough to do. I didn't realise I could when I was driving it with the off-road tyres. Even that mistake there, I got away with because the rest of the run was so blooming fast with this. Making up 3 seconds on this course. If I went back to do it with the off-road tyres, I could probably go faster, and I could keep going and going and going and get faster by swapping the cars. The tyres, there was no difference in the feel of the car. The car drove the same. It was the same twitchiness. It dealt with the bumps in the same way. It really didn't feel any difference to the cars. And sort of, when you look at overall at the average of the times, it wasn't a massive difference. The same can be said about the Sentinel. The road-going Sentinel went first at a lap time, or set a route time of 2:52.2. The off-road at 2:52.3. You know, yeah, that's pretty much identical times. There was a couple of mistakes with the Sentinel. I had problems with a bush that every time I hit the bush it spun the car, and I had a few issues with that in the road-going version. I think I did that once with the off-road as well. There's just no real difference in the time. And again, with the Sentinel, it dealt with the course. It handled exactly the same, pretty much on both runs. So that was dealing with off-road terrain on a stage. We now deal with tarmac on a stage. Admittedly, there's a little bit of dirt, but this is a pre-made track, and I vaguely know this one, so it seemed again sensible to use this layout. The Sentinel went first for this one, and it was the road-going Sentinel that went first. It said a route time. I keep going to say lap time. It's not lap time. It's route whatever. I don't know. Stage time. That's probably better. With the road tyres, a 150.2, as it gets a little bit on 2 wheels around this first corner. Yeah, this is a little bit of a concern with the Sentinel, as it gets a lot more on 2 wheels coming down the hill. Yeah, that's a bit scary. And with the off-road tyres, it did a course time of 149.0. Again, sure, there's a second, 1.2 seconds in that. However, you can make that up. In GTA, especially in GTA, on courses that you are sort of learning quite how fast you can take some of the corners in, you can make that time up. 1 second difference on this course is, I wouldn't say easily overcome, but it's certain. Again, as I said with the previous one, I could probably go back with the road car and go and beat that time and keep beating it, swapping the vehicles out. I see it certainly wasn't a case of I've gone massively quicker with this all of a sudden. I don't think, again, you look at the averages, it's all very, very close. When we look at the Bifta, the road-going Bifta went first, fastest stage time of 142.8. The off-road a 142.8, and the off-road a 143.0. Again, it's pretty much exactly the same times. There is really very, very little difference in the tyres. At no point did I ever feel a particular difference with the vehicles. The road tyres didn't grip on the tarmac any differently to the off-road tyres. You could carry near enough the same speed. Admittedly, I would love to be able to have like speedos and stuff so I could see, but it felt pretty much the same, and the stage times seemed pretty much the same. They're very, very similar, in fact. So, in conclusion, we are actually going to be informative for once. Tyres make very, very little difference. If there is a small difference in them, that can be very, very easily overcome by your driving. Your driving is by far the biggest factor that is going to affect. I mean, it always is going to be a very important factor. However, the tyres really do not make very much of a difference, if any. Your driving is, going to be much, much more important. You cannot blame it on the tyres of the vehicle at all. We've proved it now. This actually just threw up an interesting question. When I was talking about the Los Santos Rally, why some of the vehicles look slower, I wondered if the off-road tyres, with their bigger tread, their wider diameter, would create more resistance, making the car slower. I guess it must have been just the cars were running less upgrades than some of the other vehicles, as to why they were so slow in a straight line, or they were just slower in a straight line than I expected. That's the conclusion that I'm going to have to come to. Yes. We have done something successfully. We have determined, there is absolutely no difference in these tyres. I will also take this time to say that all of the stages from the Los Santos Rally can be now found on the Rockstar Social Club. I've got it all working. All of the links will be in the description of this video, so you can go download them and you can try them out for yourself. Also, while I'm saying sort of news-ish, tonight, or if, well, hold on, what's the date? I probably shouldn't say tonight if people are watching this at a different day. The 22nd, if you're watching this on the 22nd of February, tonight there is going to be a live stream. I'm going to give it another go. I'm going to be on Forza 4, maybe Forza 5? No, I'll probably stay on Forza 4 because it gets a bit fiddly changing over if it's streaming. Doing some Will It Roll, as we haven't done that for ages, and I thought that might make a good thing to kind of live stream. So yeah, if you want to come see me try and roll some vehicles on Forza 4, come along tonight at 8:30 GMT time. It'll probably go on for an hour and a half. Once it starts getting near 2 hours, the stream goes a bit funny. So yeah, we'll probably keep it to about an hour and a half. And yeah, we shall be doing that. People seem to like the live streams. And if you can't make it for that time, don't worry, it'll all be uploaded to YouTube automatically, so you can watch it later on. However, that is it for today, so thank you very much for watching, and thank you to the people who helped out with the investigating of this. However, yeah, until next time, or until later this evening, goodbye.